Welcome back to Rehabilitation Revelations World. My name's Chase.
And I'm Christopher. Um, Look, today, guys, we came all the way over here to Dallas, Georgia for a very special reason. I know we met with Courtney earlier, and through Courtney, we met Miss Kim. And I think today, really, we came here for a reason and to tell her perspective, the way she walked her life and where she's at now. And I know from where I'm at in my life that I need to hear these different perspectives, especially a female's side of the perspective and what she has gone through. Because I do get stuck in my male brain at times to think about things in one way. So I think it's very important not only for me to hear, but I think for different people, women, men out there, that they can relate to this story. And I know it's important to not only me and Chase, but I think it'll be very, very important for Kim as well. So thank you for
Yes,
being here. We appreciate you
thank you.
being here. Thank you for giving us your time.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll kind of let you go into what you wanted to talk about.
Okay. So my name's Kim. I'm 36 years old. Um, the Lord has brought me out of so many things. He is truly restoring and blessing my life um, in the place that I am now. When I think back all the way to the beginning, I came from a really good Christian home. I was very sheltered. My parents were amazing. Like, they never fought or anything. If they ever fought, we never knew about it. I mean, my childhood was great. It was truly a blessing to have just such a stable household. Um, but when you get into middle school and the peer pressure starts and you're wanting to be accepted, you're wanting to be loved, you're wanting to be cool. And so I started hanging out with a crowd that started using triple C's. So that's kind of where we were just curious, wanting to be like everybody else. Using triple C's, like I said, I don't know why I ever did that before because it made you feel
Yeah,
like total crap.
terrible.
Just
Worse.
literally getting sick to your stomach all night long, and it was just terrible. You couldn't even see straight.
Yeah,
I don't even,
yeah.
and it was the worst
I
hang up.
couldn't walk. I literally, the first
You
time I was
can't
like,
see when you're walking.
yeah,
It was it was literally crazy. I don't know why we ever did that, but anyway, my friends we would feel like crap, and we would do it again and do it again and go to any Walgreens or CVS we could and steal it every single time. Never got caught. When I was like 14, 15, and 16, that same group of friends I was in, we would go to the mall. We started stealing clothes, taking our old clothes to the store and putting them on the hangers and stealing the new clothes. Like I said, we never we never got caught that entire time, and then it just led into drinking and smoking weed. And they say smoking weed is the gateway drug, but literally that's kind of like where everything started. Just sneaking out of the house, wanting to hang out with boys, and being cool. And when I let's see, when I moved out around 17 and 18, I went through a stage where I was really against drugs.
Yeah.
Like, I went through this long period of time. I was a hard worker. I was super stable. I knew what I wanted. I had vision. I had goals. And like, I found myself starting to judge all these drug addicts. Like, when I would see a drug addict, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I would never be like them. I would never go to that level.
how
I
could
would
you get there?
never be that
Why would you
person.
do that?
Yeah,
That is so pathetic, like
yeah,
rude, like totally mean
yeah.
about it. And the Lord, I mean, I was humbled because I turned into everything I ever judged. And man, I'm saying that will humble you
Yeah.
like crazy. And so I kept living my life. When I was 19, I was drinking pretty heavily then, hanging out with a certain crowd. And my friend's boyfriend, I considered him almost a best friend to me. I actually introduced them. And one night we were drinking, and I passed out in a room alone. And then I wake up in the middle of my sleep and he's on top of me, and he raped me that night. And I kept quiet for so long, and then I finally opened up to my best friend about it, and she didn't really believe me. She didn't believe me at all, and that really hurt. And because I was terrified to tell her, I
Yeah.
thought she was going to think, "Well, you're in on this," and all that stuff. But that was kind of my downfall of like my self-worth.
Mhm.
And just when women say that, it's totally true. And the guy, still to this day would probably never admit to it,
Yeah.
you know. And anyway, and so that was never addressed throughout life. But you keep on living. And then I started working as a server. I met my first husband when I was about 22, and at 25 we had our daughter, and at 26 I had my son. That was in 2013 and 2014. And of course, I wasn't using during my pregnancies. Everything was fine. I still did smoke cigarettes, but the kids came out completely healthy and everything was fine there. But what I didn't know is he had an addiction. Like, we drank together and we'd take like certain pills from the gas station for energy and stuff like that. But I didn't know he was struggling with Roxy's as bad as he did. Like, he hit it. He hit it a lot. And at this point, I didn't like pain pills because they made me really sick. So, and he was using and using, and after my pregnancies, I had to get a surgery done, and then they prescribed me, and they kept prescribing me,
Yeah.
even when I didn't. I would just, I'm hurting. The surgery is still hurting me, and for months, I was on Percocets for months, and then so I finally found myself getting addicted to that. And let's see, around that time, I was really addicted to Roxy's. I started taking Xanax. I mean, it was everything.
You still
Yeah.
taking Roxy's and Xanax together?
I mean, it was everything,
Yeah.
one after the other. Roxy's at first, and then Xanax after that, and
Yeah.
then I liked the uppers, and they made me lose a lot of weight, so I started taking Adderall. And I was working at Hooters at this time, and there was a girl that was prescribed the same thing, and I was literally stealing, like being so nice to her face, but stealing everything out of her purse every single night. And I never made that amends. So it's just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
she might hear this, but I'm a new person now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I kept stealing from her, and the pills and stuff were getting really expensive. It's getting really expensive, and I couldn't afford it anymore. I couldn't even pay my bills anymore. All of me and Andy's stuff was all of our finances was going to that, as you guys
Yeah.
know. It
Yeah.
literally, I got my car repoed that I was almost done paying off.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I got evicted from my house by the end of it all, and Andy was working out of town, and he was doing some things out of town that was not good because I was his wife at this time. And I remember he came home one time, and I got really, really sick, and I was in the hospital for like a week. And turns out he came home from Miami and gave me an STD
Mm.
that caused something in my stomach that made me really, really sick. And it sucked because I couldn't even eat for like a week. I had to drink liquids for a full week because they could not figure out what was going on. Anyways, they finally figured it out, and I went back home. But then somebody introduced me to meth, and meth was a lot cheaper
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
than Adderall was.
Oh yeah.
And I tried to get prescribed Adderall so many times, it never worked for me. So I just had to, go to other people. And so I started using meth. I started snorting it. I started eating it. And at the beginning, man, it was just like, you're on top of the world. You are on top of the world. There's no care in the world. Like, you don't start seeing like the physical, mental effects until way further down the line. And so I started smoking and eating and snorting. And then me and Andy, our marriage completely broke apart, obviously. I ended up cheating on him for drugs. I really used to degrade my body for drugs. Like it got that bad. And there was one guy that I met that I used to use with in my addiction, and he would shoot up. And, me and Andy were split apart. I was completely broken. The kids were back and forth from our houses. I mean, I'm talking for months. And at this time, um, his family took the kids from me, and I just made that another excuse to keep being broken
Right.
and to use even harder. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm not going to see the kids again, so I don't care. Like, I want to shoot up. I want to do it right now. I don't care. I have nothing to lose anymore. Like, I was just completely broken. And that was just a whole nother addiction in itself, using the needle.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother doorway. Like,
Yeah.
I was like seeing and hearing and seeing demonic stuff. Very good.
Good.
I was seeing and hearing demonic stuff. Like, it was really scary at times. Really, really scary. But I just could not stop using that. And then, let's see. I'm trying to think. In 2017, I went to jail for a little while.
Did you go to jail for like possession? What did you go to jail for?
Possession.
Possession. You pot?
What do you mean?
Like just possession, just a possession
Yeah.
charge?
Yeah, so they found a Xanax in my purse. Thank
Yeah.
you. They found a Xanax in my purse,
Okay.
and then there was drugs in the center console. I was riding around with somebody that I didn't know,
Oh, okay.
and he stopped off the side of the road. It's actually right up the street from here. And walked into the woods with this guy. It was this homeless guy. I don't know who they were getting it from, but anyways, I wanted drugs, and he was getting it for me.
Yeah.
And little did I know there was drugs in the center console.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, the blue lights just surrounded the car, and they found the drugs in the console. I didn't even know what it was, like, to be honest with you. But I got arrested. But I really, truly think that the Lord was saving me for something from that night, because I was really living my life on the edge. Like, who knows what that guy would have done to me at that hotel room that was getting me
Yeah.
drunk. I mean, that's how I was living, because I felt like nobody wanted me around. I burned all the bridges. I literally burned all the bridges. And so I just kept putting myself in really bad situations. But I really felt like the Lord helped me and kept me safe in jail. For one, it helped me to detox
Yeah.
and everything like that. When I got out of there, I was on Suboxone. So that, honestly, Suboxone did help me get off of pain pills, I gotta say.
Yeah.
It really did. So I'm kind of going back. But Suboxone
Yeah.
helped me get off of pain pills,
Yeah.
which I was grateful for that. But coming off of Suboxone was really hard. It was like about 3 months of withdrawals.
Yeah.
I think I had 3 months of withdrawals with
Rough,
that
man.
one. It's
Rough.
very rough. I think it's almost rough, or more rough than pain pills. I don't know.
It's like more of a,
It's
you feel less bad, but you feel bad for so long.
it's a
With dope,
longer
with
period of
dope, you're
time.
just like, oh, for 7 days I'm gonna feel terrible, and then I'll keep walking out. With Suboxone, it's just so
You have
prolonged.
night terrors, hot and
Yes.
cold sweats,
Yes.
restless leg
Yes.
syndrome. Like, I had that really bad, and it was just awful. I don't wish that on
It's a bad
anybody,
time.
on anybody. But back to my vice was meth
Yeah.
and the needle. That was my vice. And literally, you guys, I had sores all over my body. I was about 100 pounds. I was unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Like, don't look anything like I look now. I mean, I had sores everywhere. I had to quit my jobs because of how bad I started to look from meth. I mean, it was just, I started picking, and the more upset I would get, the more I would kind of self mutilate on my
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
But God is good, because, like, I have no more scars.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're all completely gone. I have a few on my face and stuff like that, but, like, the scars are gone. I thought I was gonna have them my entire life. And let me try to figure out. So I've been to 3 different rehabs, in and out of rehabs,
Mhm.
in and out. Sober living was not good for me.
Yeah.
at the beginning of recovery. So I do not recommend sober living to anybody that is in early recovery because they give you freedom.
Yeah.
They give you freedom, and that's some people can't do that. Like
No, yeah.
I was too deep in to be able to go get a job. All I could think about was like, okay, I'm going to try to do good. But when I wasn't doing good, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to go find what I need
Yeah.
to survive because this is what I know. So I was 2 weeks in to sober living at a place in Alpharetta, and I met some people, and they got me some drugs. I went out and actually got everybody drugs, and I ended up getting kicked out of that place very quickly because I couldn't pass the our drug test that we do every few days, and they kicked me out. And I did not want to call my family. I was not going to call my family at this point. So I went and I stayed with a drug dealer. And that was not a good idea because I ended up shooting up heroin and GHB sent me into an overdose.
Yeah.
Immediately sent me into an overdose. It was so weird, you guys. Before I went into an overdose, me and the guy were talking about the Lord, and we were talking about changing our lives, and we were so excited to see what the Lord was going to do. And so it was almost like he knew that I was knocking on death's door. So the guy took me to the hospital and took all my stuff, but rolled me in on a wheelchair, and I was in ICU for about 2 weeks. And when they brought me back to life in the hospital, I saw a vision, like a clear, open vision. It was a movie clip of my kids. Like, you know how they say when you're about to die, you see like a clips of your
Flash. Yeah.
clips? Yeah, I saw Addie and I saw Eli. And so when I woke up out of that, I felt like the Lord was saying, you need to live for them. And he was saying you need to live for them because he knew what was going to happen a few months later. Their dad passed away. He ended up killing himself in 2018. And then and that just broke me.
Yeah.
That broke me, honestly. I mean, I'm so happy where I am today, and like my husband today, I just love him with all my heart. But he really was my first love, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it was really hard because they're still dealing with that.
Yeah.
They're still dealing with that, so it's really hard, and I never would want that for anybody. And so that happened, and let me regain my thoughts here.
Yeah. Take your time.
Um,
Thank you for being so vulnerable and honest. Honestly.
you're welcome. You're welcome. I don't talk about it that much, so when I do, it just kind of all
Yeah.
comes out.
We don't get it, but we get it. You know.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So Andy did what he did, and then I had the kids with me at this time, and I had 2 detectives that showed up at my door searching for drugs and paraphernalia, and I had recently had. Let me go back. I had recently had an encounter with the Lord. So the kids were with me at this time. I had just lost Andy. About a week later, I was like, I'm going to relapse again. I'm done. Like, I'm literally going to relapse. So I went and I used one time. And I stayed up all night. And I looked up to the Lord and I just cried out to him. I said, God, I can't do this anymore. Like, please don't let me die this way. Please, because they need me and I'm the only one that they have. Like, please don't. And I was just being so genuine. Like, it was just such a genuine heart cry. And then sorry, I hit that. I had a very supernatural experience. So I look at my phone and a random phone number starts texting me. And I thought it was maybe like some druggy friend that I had trying to get in touch with me in the middle of the night. But I started getting text messages through this number and it said, come find me. I'm here. I'm downstairs. I'm outside. It was this random thing.
Yeah.
And I'm running around the house. I'm like, okay, well, the drugs really did this time. Like I'm literally going crazy because someone says that they're here and I can't find them. Like I looked outside, I looked everywhere, you guys, nobody was there. And I'm running around and I'm so desperate for help and I'm so desperate for a change. And I run into this picture in my kitchen and it's of Jesus. It's of Jesus. And when I made eye contact with this picture, you guys, it sounds crazy, but everything fell off of me. I felt so much love, so much peace and joy and happiness. Like I can't explain it. I was on like a God's love high. And when I made eye contact with that picture, he said, Kim, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And I audibly heard this. I audibly heard it. Everything just fell off me, and I was a new creation. It was like I didn't have any withdrawals, you guys.
Wow.
After 5 years of using, I had no withdrawals when every other time I did. I was like, I just felt so brand new. I had so much energy. I felt so good. And it was all because of God. And like I was seeing and hearing Him in everything I was doing for 3 days, three whole days straight.
Yeah.
And today I'm still fighting for my kids.
Mhm.
I'm still trying to get custody of them, but I'm going to get them back. The Lord's already told me I was going to get them back. And my relationship with them is amazing. And God is just restoring. So that's kind of my story
Yeah.
right there.
That is.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, sure.
I just had a couple things. So I know I kind of asked this earlier with Courtney. So somebody out there struggling right now that were in the same position that you were. If you could go back and tell yourself where you're at now and then where you were at then to kind of, I guess, help you come out of it or let you know that everything was going to be okay. What is something you could tell your younger self or somebody out there that is dealing with those? They're in those cars going to the dope man's house or living with drug dealers. They literally don't have no hope on anything. What is something you could to give them to maybe help them give some hope or have some hope rather?
Yeah, that's a hard question
Mhm.
for me to answer. And I was listening to you earlier ask the question, and I was trying to like really self-reflect and like, what could I tell my younger self? I guess I think something that helped me a lot was just getting as far away from people that was not good for me. Just going to a place like if you're thinking about going to treatment, I would say go to a very, very far place where you don't have any clue of who anybody is and where you can find anybody.
And
I
long
think
term.
long term, not
When you say long term, what are we talking about? Like
long term,
yeah, like what do you mean by
like a
long
year,
term? Like
A
a
year.
year. Okay.
because I really do truly think it takes that
It
long.
does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can speak from experience. I have been in and out of rehabs 3 different times. Sober living was too early for me. Now, I could have done a sober living after like a year program,
Yeah.
I believe,
Yeah.
but then right out of jail just to get out of jail.
Yeah.
I used that card just to get out of jail, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got this, like acting like I did, and I didn't. And then the second time I went was a 3-month program, and it was a Christian-based program, and I do think that place really helped. But again, when I left there and went home, I went and hung out with people,
Right.
old people, places,
Right.
and things.
Right.
Haven't said that in a long time. Old people, places, and things. And
Right.
immediately, it was like I had no recovery under my belt at all
Yeah.
because I
Back, yeah.
automatically used.
Mm.
And when you take a break and you go back, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like 10 times worse
Yeah.
every single time. The more you take a break and go back, it just gets worse and worse physically and mentally. And you
Yeah.
go 3 times harder every time. But then I found myself at that after my encounter that night I was telling you guys about, I was like, I'm ready to go to treatment. So I had made that choice in my heart. I wasn't doing it just because people were making me do it or I had to do it. I had made that choice. And that makes a big difference when you make that choice in your heart to do something. Like I was ready to do it. And so I went all in, and it was a 9-month to a year program. And I actually stayed over the year and stayed in like a community. It was called community. And they
Yeah.
gave you your own apartment. You kind of could come and go as you please and work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just kind of helped me get back to the real world. And yeah, so I don't know if that answered your question, but
It's perfect.
it's really hard to say like what I would go back and say to somebody.
So, do you think with long-term recovery, what for me, I'll kind of give my perspective on it. Because we did well, it's close to a 9-month program. So, with that 6 months being away for 6 months, no phone, no, really
Access
nothing.
to transportation that they don't take you to.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It really it set my mind to a place where I never thought I'd be. Getting away, because people don't think it's 6 months can change your life forever.
Yeah.
Just 6 months. People think 6 months is like a long time. It's not. You
Goes
know?
by like that.
Yeah. I mean, for the moments, it's like, okay, this is dragging out. But if you actually go seek and you find and you do it for yourself, you learn more things
Hmm.
that you can't ever imagine. You know,
Yeah.
in a long term place. So I feel like with you saying that, it's like you for the people out there is sometimes you have to disappear, get away from those people, the places, the your own self.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
honestly and
I
truly.
went to a very, very strict, the last one I was at, the one that helped me the most. It was a faith-based place, but they were extremely strict.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, they were just on your back about everything. You had dates and times for everything throughout your day. You were never unsupervised. I mean, but I appreciate it so much because I needed it so bad.
Yeah.
I needed all that structure. I needed all that discipline and order and all of that stuff. It really helped me
yeah,
a lot. So I don't regret anything that I went through now because it's really built up my character. And now I can use this pain and use this mess and send a message to other people. And
Yeah.
there's a comeback. You can come back.
Absolutely.
yeah,
You can come back.
yeah.
Absolutely. You can come back. Last question for you, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. What's something you do day to day to kind of keep yourself in check? I know we talk about the Lord a lot and God, and that's obviously important to you. But what is something that keeps you present in your day to day that you do?
Keeps me present. Well, in my mind, Jesus is the only way. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jesus is what brought me out of this mess. And if people don't believe in him, I really, really feel like you should start a relationship with the Lord. He's who saved my life. So I cannot think anything else but that. And the medications, yeah, that helps for something that you need something to sustain you through this. I go to him every day. I pray to him every day. I mean, he was the answer for me.
Yeah.
He was the answer for me.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you want to plug anything? You want to plug anything to church or anything else like that? You don't?
Okay.
You got anything else, Chase?
No, Kim, like honestly, we thank you for real. Thank you for
Thank you
being.
guys.
I know you're a little nervous, but
Well,
I hope that kind of helped getting things out.
it was good.
You know, we appreciate you. You know, for real,
Yeah.
for being so honest. And it's hard to talk about those things
Yeah.
and to get that off your chest. You know, sometimes it helps. but I really feel like what we do and, you sharing your story is going to help somebody out there that really needs to hear it.
Yeah.
And, we appreciate it. And I know a lot of people will as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And I think it's awesome. And I just wish you guys all the blessings and success in this. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Show Kim some love, guys. Show her some love. She did awesome. But thank you, and we'll see y'all when we see y'all. Thank y'all.